to 13 points, and their fans are already dreaming about a place in the semi-finals.
Well, it's Paul Flynn's shot that flies across, hits the upright. Bang! What a finish! And now it's game on.
It certainly is that. The Dubs now will try and finish out the job that they started so impressively. Bernard Brogan inside towards Michael Dara McCauley, angle tight, tries to make a better one. He can finish it here, and he puts it over the bar. Michael Dara McCauley, who got a goal against Tipperary, gets a point here in what is now the 70th minute of this All-Ireland GAA quarter-final, and the Dubs lead the Ulster champions, and they're ahead by 5 points. And they wait now for the final whistle, and Dublin eliminate Tyrone from the championship and advance to the semi-finals. Owen O'Gara's goal after 65 minutes delighted the crowd. It was an all-round brilliant team performance by Dublin, and Tyrone absolutely crestfallen. The final score here at Croke Park in the second quarter-final is Dublin 115, Tyrone 13 points.
I was hoping that performance would come all right. I wasn't so sure that we were ready to beat one of those top teams yet, and you know, that's probably surpassed our expectations now. So we're in bonus territory really, because you know, when you had so many new guys, it was hard to see us. I kind of felt confident that we would close a gap all right, but whether we would beat one of them, you know, it certainly surpassed our expectations.
And we prepared as well as we did for any game in the last 7 or 8 years. And I have to say the players put in as much effort as they did in that time, and they just couldn't get enough scores to win the game. They, I suppose our return for the shots that we created wasn't good enough, and that's, I suppose, thanks to Dublin as well. They worked extremely hard, they fought for every inch, and they deserved the victory in the end.
All right, that's magnanimous from Mickey Hart. Bernard Brogan, though, had a massive impact here.
Yeah, he had a terrific match. You know, there was a possibility at half-time that the game was perfectly set for Tyrone, and the question was posed, you know, what's he up to? Can he do it? You know, I think there was never going to be
two weeks ago, do you remember we were picking our team, and you know, at that stage he was the front runner for Player of the Year as well, and you know, it's a well-known fact he gets a huge percentage of the Dublin scores, and Kerry knew that last year and they managed to shackle him. He's actually becoming unmarkable, if there is such a thing, in forward play. Cahill McCarran took him up early on, got absolutely destroyed, went over, and Justin McMahon, who's been having a fine year, and he's added this little bit of craft as well to his game this year. It was all robust play last year, straight line running and just trying to use his strength and pace, but he takes 2 out here, and last year he probably would have kept going and maybe got overcarried. Here he turns back out and kicks it back to his brother Alan, who eventually ends up kicking a very good left-legged point here. Now, in the past, the Brogans would have been accused of being individual in their nature of playing. They've eliminated that almost entirely.
It's good ball to him though, Dara.
Oh yeah, the ball in, huge credit. But this kind of ball, I don't know would that qualify as good ball. No, he stands his ground in great strength. Like we saw Ross Common playing today with Donny Shine up front. He's a fantastic player. He wouldn't be as fast or as probably athletic and or as strong or as crafty as Bernard Brogan. And they got isolated. Bernard Brogan was isolated. Now Dublin won an awful lot of the 1-on-1 battles yesterday, but this was 1 versus 2 most of the time. And Bernard Brogan did fantastically well. And he's, you know, to do that, you need to have something special to be able to do that. Like we see the Gooch doing it all the time, 2 or 3 players around him. He's starting to do that now, and he's coming into that league, and he's having a fantastic year.
The Dublin tackling was intense.
It certainly was, and we spoke about that last week, you know, that this is the honesty of effort they're bringing to it. And when it's good, but when it's a bit dodgy, they're getting badly punished. And this is what we were talking about yesterday in the commentary, that it's a little bit overzealous, I suppose, is what I'd call it, and it's been punished badly. Now, that particular one, Mickey Fitzsimons, I think, has to stop over. It's a goal chance, fair enough. But I don't think Brian Cullen particularly needs to get him in the back there. And the point is, Des, it's been punished again. Now, these are vital scores, so they have to be very careful about their intensity levels in the tackle. Like, that's an absolutely silly one, and it is nailed again by Penrose from distance. But when they get it right, and there's a clip coming up here where you will see Dublin getting their tackling so right, that it's marvellous intensity without going over into the foul zone, as it were. That's a great intercept by McCauley. As we said last week, he mixes the brilliant with the not so brilliant. And this clip here is, for me, tells us all about Dublin yesterday. Just watch it going over and the sort of pressure that's put on the ball. and put on the player in possession.
But the sad part of that, Kevin, like, is I'd say a lot of that depends on the referee's interpretation of the tackle. Some of those frees mightn't have even been blown yesterday. So who are they going to have refereeing in the All-Ireland semi-final? A lot of that is going, it's going to tend a lot. And it shouldn't be like that.
Every team now studies the referee like they study
absolutely. He's a factor.
I know video analysts that get the video of the referee for his last 4 or 5 performances to see exactly what does he do. Does he allow the man in position get the free, or if you surround him, do you get the free, or what it is? Tony, it's totally different.
They've been looking at referees for 40 years, so it's nothing new. Every team worth its salt always knew who.
But they're all different.
But one man's interpretation of a robust tackle is just robust tackle.
And if you are going to have a high intensity game, you are going to give away free.
But you build that. You can build that into your strategy. You say, we're keeping the frees today, guys. 4, 5. That's what we're allowing. But beyond that, you pull back.
It's just typical Dublin, really. Yesterday, they were hungry. They were still a bit raw. But you can't blame them for that.
But equally, Tony, in fairness to Tyrone, on another day, Tyrone could easily have won that. They
could have been out the gap.
They missed chance. They wouldn't.
Could have been out the gap. 2 things. 1, they looked tired. 2 things, they got 17 wides. 17 wides. And the score at this stage was 12-13, 58 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, they kicked 5 wides. In all, they got 17 wides. And that is just... That for Tyrone is some of these kicks, they're not even under pressure kicking in them. Okay? And another day, they would get these scores. But there was certain inevitability about it at this stage when the likes of Sean Cavan here, he looks tired, actually. That's not the Sean Cavan we know. Yeah, it's not the Brian Dooher we know on the field. Like, some of these balls are just, they're not working them into good positions. They're just kicking them in. They don't have a focus in the attack. Outside of Mulligan, yesterday, really, and Penrose, there was nobody else around. But
we were raving about them 2 weeks ago when they beat Monaghan, Kevin.
And also,
how good were Monaghan?
How strong is the Ulster Championship?
How strong is it now? It's totally changed. This year's championship.
Yeah, guys, I accept all that, but remember, Martin Penrose sticks the ball in the net 1 minute forward.
Totally different.
It's probably game over in many respects, because now Tyrone are in the lead where they like to be, and they'll invite you on, suck it in, and then push on out and get you on the break. So it's inches. It was a very tight game.
Right. There is one other key point about Tyrone and the other provincial winners. Let's look at our All-Ireland semi-final lineup now completed. It's Dublin versus Cork, the 22nd of August, 3:30 start, and then Kildare versus Down on the 29th of August. All right, so that's the semi-final. And what's the big glaring thing there? No provincial winners, none.
Our provincial finalists.
Our provincial finalists.
None of them.
But at least the provincial finalists got a second chance. Our provincial winners did not get a second chance. Surely that's not fair, Kevin?
I think everything we've seen in the qualifiers this year, between the 6-day turnaround, the provincial champions not getting a second chance, and the way they've all come through now and knocked out the winners, I think it's going to make for a winter debate on the qualifiers, and we're going to see it nuanced in 2011.
What's your view? What should the Mickey Hart?
Well, there shouldn't be a 6 week. There should not be a 6 week turnaround. That's unfair.
6-day turnaround.
Pardon me. A 6-day turnaround for beaten provincial.
Okay, we discussed that last week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the provincial winners.
But you look at Kerry's case as an example. They had a 4-week block of training. Usually they manage their blocks of training very well. I don't doubt they did the same this time. And they said at the start of the year that they wanted to go front door because they didn't feel they had the mileage in the legs. So it's not really an excuse in that regard. Roscommon, I don't think they'd have it any other way. They'd love to win a provincial title. Louth, well, you can debate Louth and Meath all you want, but it wouldn't have been a great story had Louth won, and that would have added value to the provincials. And I think Tyrone were quite happy to win the provincial championship as well. Now, on Tyrone, Mickey Hart has made the point in the past, and again, a very, very valid point. There's surely some mechanism in there that you can fit in, whether it would take up 1 weekend or 2 weekends games.
Well, it's a straightforward mechanism.
Yeah, you just have to play off each other. Yeah.
Well, one is the 4. Was it you and I were discussing this? The 4 provincial winners, if they played each other and 2 go through to the semi-final, that leaves 2 others who would play the 4. Only 2 teams.
The round 4 qualifier will come down to 2.
Injury or suspension is the only thing against the back door as such, because you're playing games every weekend, and injury and suspension are the only 2 negatives to it. It's all positives other than that.
All right.
Yeah, but all the evidence is that the qualifiers are not really working the way we wanted them to work. Never mind the weak counties, they're not giving people a fair shot at the title.
I don't know, there's 4 counties heading to Croke Park in August who are fairly happy with it, but I take your point. And that's a debate, as you say, that's going to run all winter, and we'll talk about it on the radio tomorrow evening. Thanks for that for now, lads. A reminder about next weekend's live GAA action here on RTÉ Television. It's the first of our All-Ireland hurling semi-finals. 2 of the biggest names in the game. It's Kilkenny going for 5 in a row against their old rivals Cork.
On the chasing pack, fox hunting as opposed to stag hunting getting any closer.
And nothing will give greater joy to Cork than to have to face Kilkenny in the All-Ireland hurling semi-final.
There's a lot of old history between them.
In a world where we aspire for perfection, Kilkenny are the ones who've reached the peak.
And if any team can lift it on any given day, it's Cork. It's when you think Cork are written off, it's their most dangerous.
Yeah, one to really look forward to, Kilkenny and Galway in the minor match. Coverage begins at 1:15. Well, many thanks to Dara, Kevin and Tony for joining us this evening. That's it. I'll be back on the radio at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. And until we meet here next Sunday, have a good week. Bye-bye.